Shoot, I can't see anything. This meeting is being live streamed. Okay. You're gonna have to put that.
Go get together with Vaughn. No. But maybe Martin will be able to tell him. It's a little disconcerting to see, actually. Do what? It's a little disconcerting to see. Yeah, I know. I'm around the wrong time. Yeah. Like a mirror and a delay. Okay. Yeah. All right, shall we? Are you guys set? Are you set? Ah, great. Are we set? Okay. Okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Jay, are you set? Okay. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to our Zoom service, courtesy of the high heat that is out there that would have fried our equipment. Thanks if you've been listening to our little bit of glitches with new systems. I'm Liz Suffett on the board of directors. This is Susie Masco, and we will be leading services tonight. Rabbi Milder is on his well-deserved vacation. So, on Shevet Achim Gam Yachad, Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov, La 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 la, Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov, La 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 la. Lighting our Shabbat candles this evening is Skylar Cohen. You can turn to page 3.
Hello, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our own lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you, Skylar. On pages 20 and 21. As we turn to page 26, I should point out that if you go to our website, there's a link for the online Mishkan Tefillah. Somebody may be able to post a link in there. And we will not be using the song sheet tonight, so it's just Mishkan Tefillah.
Page 26. Yitgadol v'yitgadash me'rava ve'amal tivrach u'ruchei v'yamliv malchutei v'chayechon u'yomechon u'kayet kol beit Yisrael b'gala b'gala u'mizman kariv ve'himeru amen yehesh me'rava mevorach L'olam olam me'almaya, Yitbarak, Yitbarak, Ve'yishtabak, Ve'yitba'ar, Ve'yitramam, Ve'yitnaseh, Ve'yitadar, Ve'yitaleh, Ve'yitala, Shemei Kodashah, B'rihu, Lehem min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Tam b'hiram b'elma, Ve'himeru,
Amen. Please rise if you are able and so inclined for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated.
Please turn to page 31 at the top of the page. You're welcome to read with me in your Zoom space. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. You, creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai ha'amariv aravim. On page 32, everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Ba'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, V'chol levavecha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odecha. V'hayu advarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzadecha hayom halevavecha. V'shinatam levanecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'vlechtecha b'derech u'shokbecha u'kumecha u'kshartam leot ayatecha v'hayu latotafot b'neinecha u'tartam amuzuzot beitecha u'misharecha leman tizkeru ba'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohehem. Ani Adonai Elohehem asher hoseti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiyot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohehem.
On page 39 at the top of the page, and make note of this one, we'll come back to it. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Page 40. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, oseh pele, oseh pele.
On page 43, there we go. Let there be love and understanding between us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hampares sukkot shalom aleinu, ve'achol yamo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Page 44.
Page 44. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It's a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed.
Please rise if you are able and inclined for the tefillah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach uviagi tahilatecha. Open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imeteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Kasei Havot V'Imahot, U'Mehi Kulam Libnei B'neihem, L'man Shema B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rab Eloshia, Mori atah, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somek Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asarim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gibburot, Umidom Melach, Melech Mimit, Umekayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shemcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom halelucha sa'elah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated.
On page 55 at the top of the page. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Makadesh HaShabbat. On page 57, prayer book will cooperate. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve and reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'nira na'avod. Page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'cha na'eh lahodot. Page 60. Okay. On page 60, grant abundant peace to Israel, your people forever, for you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. On the next few pages, you can find readings for silent prayer. I invite you to use the words in the book or in your own heart for a few moments of silent prayer.
page 62. Ose shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'akol Israel vehi beru amen. Ose shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'akol Israel vehi beru amen. At this time, we ask for healing from members of our congregation and their loved ones who are ill. If you are praying for healing of body or healing of spirit for a loved one, I invite you to recite that, well, you can recite that person's name.
Or enter it in the chat.
Or enter in the chat. To those whose names we have said aloud, we add those whom we hold in our hearts and say, Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, God, the source of healing, and let us say Amen.
Amen.
Page 253. Mi sheberach avotenu, makor habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu, makor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Thank you. Now that Jason's turned the spotlight on me, I forgot to turn on the lights earlier. One of my favorite readings in our prayer book is on page 39, standing on the parted shores of history. We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood on Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. I like it for several reasons, but foremost is the concept that life is a winding way, a journey, and that we do not walk it alone. We often read another poem as part of Yuzkor and Shiva services. Life is a journey, and we can make it a sacred pilgrimage, stage by stage, between birth, the beginning, and death, the destination. This week's parshat is a double one, Matot Maaseh, and it is chock full. There is a very nasty description of a war that we are commanded to wage, definitions of oaths for men and women, setting up refugee cities, delineating murder versus manslaughter, revisiting the laws of inheritance. Lots of topics for discussion. But in the middle of this, God tells Moses to recount the 42 stages of the journey from the Israelites from Egypt to the place they are now, at the very edge of the promised land. It seems strange, they all lived it, presumably, but there's a recitation of the places that our people went, the times that they rebelled against God, the events of the journey. 42. And while it was tempting to explore the whole aspects and imports of the number 42, the answer to the meaning of life, the universe, and everything, which I actually found a published drash written about, I am more taken by the thought of a travel log, the journal that Moses recites of their journey. Personally, I am a lousy journal keeper, I have tried over the years to at least do travel journals. I gave up on diaries long ago and found my efforts less than satisfying. It's hard for me to come up with anything except we went here, then there, then we had lunch, then we went to the other place. Of course, I'm less of a writer than other folks. I'm very visual. And so I have vivid pictorial memories of places, peoples, scene, events. So in light of all this, what makes travel memorable, exciting, enticing, expanding our experiences in our minds? Is it the list of castles that we get to, or the restaurants that we eat in, the conversations we have there, the new flavors, the new peoples, cultures? Some folks I know well remember where they've gone by the meals that they have eaten, others by the art they have seen or gardens that they've gone to, the mountains that they've climbed. What was God asking Moses to review with the Israelites? In a drash by Rabbi Stephen Kushner, it says, the list of places, and I'm not going to read them all, Ramesses, Sukkoth, Ethem, Pihahiroth, Marah, Elim, the Red Sea, Wilderness of Sin, Dovka, Alush, Rephidim, the Wilderness of Sinai, and etc. He writes, I have listed these locations intentionally. They may not make for the most engaging reading, but that doesn't mean that they're unimportant. Indeed, Torah tells us that Moses made a point of recording each location where they camped. For the casual reader, they are just place names, dots on an ancient map. The verses we usually skip on our way to the good stuff. And while most of these places carry no commentary of what might have happened there, Moses does take a moment in his travelogue to remind us that Mount Hor is where Aaron, his brother, died, that Elim had 12 springs and 70 palm trees. And the mention of the Red Sea is certainly a hint to a pretty significant event. But as well we know, every one of those locations would be a memory, albeit now forgotten. There are those 42 places listed. In some of them, they encamped but for a few days. In others, they stayed for weeks, maybe even months. And in some, they lived for a year or more. These 42 places cumulatively represent the totality of the 40 years, what has come to be identified as a biblical generation. And so it is not surprising that some have come to see these 42 encampments and their subsequent departures and journeys as being symbolic of the stages of our lives, from Egypt to the Promised Land, from constriction and restraint to the land where milk and honey flows. The stops in between are the days of our lives, the moments that give us rest or stir us to move ahead, to grow, to become, to get to where we're going. As I went on looking at this thought of journeys, Rabbi Carrie Olowitz has written, a perfunctory read, similar, of Maaseh suggests that it's a straightforward recounting of the journey of the ancient Israelites in the desert, a sort of after-the-fact itinerary. Does anybody remember triptychs from AAA? I'm dating myself. It is really a recounting of the miracles, this rabbi says, that Israel experienced in the desert, contextualized by the redemption from Egypt at the beginning and the anticipation of a land of promise at the end. He goes on to say, what is most important is the lesson that this Torah portion teaches. Each step along the way is framed in the reflection of our relationship with God. Each step acknowledges the presence and participation of God in our journey. He says, what is striking, however, that what would seem to be the paradigmatic experience, the revelation at Sinai, which really acts as a measuring point for everything else, is actually missing from the listing that is in the Torah. One commentator suggests that once the Torah was given, it became timeless and cut loose from any one place. Every moment is its moment, and every place its place. In effect, therefore, it became embedded in each step of the journey and didn't need to be separated out. In our prayer book, this is my comment, what we read, what happened once upon a time happens all the time. I was also taken by a drash by Rabbi Kamensky. Every meaningful experience is comprised of temporal experiences and spiritual, philosophical, or ethical ramifications. In the larger view, the greater picture, one might ask, Was it the circumstance that was the foremost character of the experience? Or was it the experience that made the circumstances pale in retrospect? The Torah tells us that Moses wrote their goings on according to their journey. That seems to say he wrote the occurrences, the various events, traumatic and otherwise, that occurred as a result of their journeys. Fate brought them to certain places, and thus certain events occurred. To our human eye, that is what happens in life. We go places, we do things, events occur. But the Torah itself announces these journeys with a twist. It declares the journeys in a different light. It does not precede the event by saying, this is what happened as a result of the journeys. Just the opposite. It tells us these are the journeys according to those experiences. The journeys were secondary to the experiences. The journeys were listed according to the experiences. Maybe in life's journeys and our ensuing experience, it is all worth reflecting on. Do we bless to eat, or do we eat so that we might bless? Do we mark our experiences according to where we travel, or do we mark our travels according to where we've had our experiences? In some, a woman, Abigail Stern, who works with Jewish educators, gave this good summary, I think. In essence, the Torah is saying that there is inherent value to journeys, to life experiences. Whether these experiences are one's great triumphs and miracles, whether they are our trials and failures, they are, in and of themselves, important. For every individual, for every family and nation, our collected experience create who we are and what is meaningful to us. The Torah teaches us that the Israelites' journeys and their experiences are what have created their unique character and identity. So my challenge for myself, and maybe for you, as we get back to being able to travel after the last 18 months of staying put, is to make our journeys, whether short excursions or long winding tours, about our companions, our experiences, and not just a list. That will help our lives become a sacred pilgrimage. And now there's a dramatic pause because I put on my other hat and give some announcements. As you have come to realize, our services outdoors are somewhat weather dependent. We had hoped for a nice, fog blowing in and cool evenings. But barring an excessive heat warning, we will have Friday night services, again, on the courtyard next Friday at 7:30. They will be led by Trish Monroe and Beth Wilson. In the meantime, we have Torah study on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on Zoom. You can find the link in the once around. This is the season of membership renewals, so we encourage you to look carefully into your own heart's journey and make your contributions accordingly to your gifts of the heart and send in those membership renewals. There are other sort of our usual summer events in the sense of this is the season of the backpack project, so I believe they're still collecting funds for providing school supplies. Registration for religious school and preschool should be open and going. Check the latest once around, check our website. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom. You take your pause, I'll take mine.
Thank you, Liz. Page 282. Aleinu l'shoveach l'adon hakol, l'teit yudiyot al tuatzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kakoye ha'aratzot, v'lo hasamanu kamishpakot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kachomonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishlakavim u'modim, lifnei melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim v'Yosed Haaretz,
Moshe Kivaro, Bashamayim Mimahal, Ushkina Tuzo, Ushkina Tuzo, Bego Ben Meromim, U Eloheinu Ein Hod, Emet Malkeinu Ebesulato, Kakatu Betorato, Bayadat Hayom, Behashevota, Elevavecha, Hi Adonai Hu Elohim, Bashamayim Imahal, Ve'al haaretz mitach ein od, Ve'nemar Vayah Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, Vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad. Please be seated. Judaism teaches us the sacred duty of memory. On this Shabbat, we remember the members of our congregations and their loved ones who have died within the last 30 days. If you are observing Shloshim, I invite you to rise as I recite the name of your loved one. We observe Shloshim for Thomas Lazinski, Leslie Rothberg, Michelle Daniels. And on this Shabbat, we remember those whose yahrzeit occurred during the past week. I invite those who are observing yahrzeits for the following to rise as I recite their names. Bert Abernell, Kalman Cohen, Cy Fink, Eleanor Fless, Joseph Fless, Annette Lubau, Maurice Palter, Mimi Schwart, Jeanette Meyer-Whale, Martin Zucker, Magda Biro. And I invite all those who are observing the first year of mourning to rise at this time. May their memories be a blessing. We rise as one congregation here and in our Zoom, united by memory and compassion to praise God's name. The Kaddish is on page 294. Yet Kadal B'Yet Kadesh, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alman Divrach Hirtei B'Amlik Malchutei, B'chayekon U'Yomekon U'Chaye Dekod Beit Israel, Ba'agala B'Zman Kariv B'Imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Oleh Almaya, Yet Parach V'Yishtabak V'Yipa'ar V'Yit-Roman V'Yit-Naseh, V'Yit-Hadar V'Yit-Haleh V'Yit-Halal, Shemei Dekudesha B'Rechu, Le'elam Min Kol Birkata B'Shirata, Tushbechata V'Nechemata, Da'amiram Belman V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya, B'Chaim Aleinu V'Kol Israel V'Imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mramav, Uyaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'Kol Israel V'Imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and all Israel, to which we say Amen.
Our closing song is Adon Olam and can be found on page 321. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra lehet nasa b'chetza kol Azai melech shemo nikra Azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei tiklot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu hoveh v'hu yihyeh b'tifara v'hu yihyeh b'tifara v'hu echad v'ein sheni v'ham shilbo l'hachbera v'li reishin v'li tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'ham misra v'lo ha'oz v'ham misra v'hu eli v'chai goali v'tzur chevli v'hei tzara v'hu nisi Umanos li, menat kosi, biyomek ra, menat kosi, biyomek ra, biyado hakid ruhi, behetishan, behahira, behim ruhi, begibati, Adonai li, below ira, Adonai li, below ira.
Thank you, Susie. You may stay on Zoom. We're going to do Kiddush and Motzi. I'm going to go collect our Kiddush and Motzi. You can have a moment to collect yours if you would like to hang around for a little Zoom Oneg time. It will be on this same channel. How are you with the Kiddush? All right.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'hava, v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehillah, Lemikra et Kodesh, Zecher Litzion, Mitzrayim, Kivanu Bacharta, Ve'otanu Kidashta, Bechol Ha'amim, B'Shabbat Kodesh-Ka, Ve'ahavu V'ratzon, Hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
L'chaim. Sorry, I just poured the Manischewitz. Now, we do have a little holiday. A wee little challah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Yes. Okay, so if you are not on Zoom, please find the Zoom link on our website or in the Once Around, and join us on Zoom so we can kibitz and share, and Susie and I can breathe a sigh of relief, and all will be good.